Life at Evolution.
Live at Evolution.
All right, welcome to Live at Evolution, Episode 3. I'm Chris Georges, here with Leah Barley, not to be confused with Leah Barley. Welcome into the studio and welcome to BCIT. It's good to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Is this your first time on this campus?
Yes, I'm pretty sure it
Wow.
is. Yes.
Well, lucky us to have you here and on this Good Friday, actually.
It is.
Holiday.
It's
Neither of us knew that
Easter,
it was a holiday.
apparently.
Well, you got 4 songs for us today. You're going to get a cover in the middle somewhere, but let's get it started with an original.
Sure.
So let's just pop right into it and we'll take it from there.
Just jump right in. Sure. This is the title track of my album I put out
Okay.
during COVID. It's called Bring Out Your Dead.
Bring out your dead. All right.
Bring out your dead as I lay sleeping and the world's on fire and you won't shed a tear and I'll kiss your back. Will you lay sleeping? Now my world's on fire. You don't know, my dear, that I'm terrified of what they'll be thinking when the world finds out about the love we made. So bring out your dead. So bring out your dead. Whiskey kept on flowing under a sparkling crescent moon. Sing a song for me, and I'll sing a song for you. You hold my hand so tightly as you lift me to your bed, and we'll do the best to quiet all them voices in our heads. Bring out your dead as I lay sleeping and the world's on fire and you won't shed a tear and I'll kiss your back. Will you lay sleeping? Now my world's on fire and you don't know, my dear, that I'm terrified of what they'll be thinking when the world finds out about the love we made. So bring out your dead. So bring out your dead. Skeletons in my closet I didn't know were there, but you came around, shook things up, and I'm embarrassed to share that these wounds run so very deep into the pit of my soul, and you just sit there and take it. Now I'm scared that you'll go. So bring out your dead as I lay sleeping and the world's on fire and you won't shed a tear and I'll kiss your back. Will you lay sleeping? Now my world's on fire and you don't know, my dear, that I'm terrified of what they'll thinking when the world finds out about the love we made. So bring out your dead. So bring out your dead. So bring out your dead. So bring out your dead.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Well, Leah Barley here on Live at Evolution. I'm Chris Georges. Let's get right into some questions here. I've got prepared for you very diligently, I might add.
You did your homework.
I did my homework on your career a little bit.
Oh.
Let's start easy. Let's start basic.
Easy basic.
How'd you get started with music? Has it always been a thing that's been a passion of yours? Was it something that kind of materialized later in life?
Materialized later in life. I always had a connection to music. I was big into dancing and musical theater when I was a kid. I was that like undiagnosed ADHD kid in school. So I was like super hyper, always moving, always dancing, doing sports. But musical theater was my first love. And like Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat and doing all that stuff at school, right? And it wasn't until I went to Alberta, and that's when I started singing and picked up a banjo, and here I am.
Wow. And you mentioned Alberta, and you were born in Saskatchewan.
Yes.
Moved to Ontario.
Yes.
Moved to Alberta.
Yes.
Now you're in BC.
Yes.
Is this kind of a goal of yours to just live in every province in Canada, or?
It just kind of happened.
Okay.
I don't really want to move back to Saskatchewan, or, I haven't been to Manitoba, but I don't really feel like
That does kind of seem like it's next in line, though.
It's not going to happen, I don't think.
No.
I really like Vancouver. I really like Vancouver.
So how long have you been in Vancouver then at this point?
14 years.
14?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's a pretty good run.
About 14 years. Yes.
And what would you say the music scene is like here compared to maybe some of the other spots that you've lived?
Oh, outstanding.
Yeah.
Outstanding. Vancouver, that's why I love it here, is even if you're not in like the folk scene or Americana scene, there's just so many different forms of music in Vancouver. So you can go out any day of the week and find music. And there's all these diehard places like Guilt & Co. that just no matter what, every single night of the week, there's music. And you know it's going to be incredible. So Vancouver is just, it's so full of music.
And you lived in, is it Canmore, Alberta?
Yes.
Right, that you live?
I did.
Very much an international sort of city, right?
It's a town. It's a small
town. Yeah. Would you say, there wasn't really the same sort of thing there? I guess it's just so much smaller, right?
It's so much smaller, but that's where I started playing music. So there was a really big, like bluegrass community there. We'd get together and we would all jam and stuff, and that's how I started playing, was just with jammers. And so there's a lot of people coming through town on tour who were coming through from Calgary, and then they would stay and play at the Canmore Hotel. So like the Ho, that's what it was called, the Ho, the Canmore Hotel, was, 3 nights a week. There was always an incredible band coming through. And so we just get such a good feel, and you would get to meet them because they were staying upstairs. And it was, what got me started with music was being in Canmore. So even though it's smaller, it still is just filled. And they have their own like, folk festival and everything. It's a huge folk festival too. So Canmore is an incredible little hub.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And your style has kind of been, you mentioned the banjo. Your style has kind of been referred to as kind of old-time country or bluegrass, like you said. But you brought the guitar today.
I brought my guitar.
No banjo, unless you
No,
have it somewhere else. Is that something, like you mentioned Canmore, is that something that you envision yourself in that kind of genre of music, or it just kind of happened that way?
I didn't know bluegrass existed until I moved to Canmore. And I walked in, it was the Grizzly Paw, and they had an open mic, and it was just everyone around one microphone, and there was banjo, guitar, fiddle, stand-up bass. I had no idea what was going on. I'd never seen that before in my life, and it just blew my mind. And I fell in love with this music, this old-time country and bluegrass music, and it was just this, I've never heard it before. And no matter how advanced you were, you could just jam with everyone as long as you knew, it's usually a GCD, right? And then everyone gets a solo if you want. And so it was just so inspirational to see that. And at the time, my fingers were broken, so I couldn't actually get my hand around a guitar. And so I just bought myself a banjo and then taught myself how to play it. And then once my hand was strong enough, then I got this guitar. And, I think I was writing and performing within 2 months of getting my banjo.
Really?
So it just came out of me. It was really interesting.
I like that reason for getting into the banjo, just broken fingers as a reason to pivot away from the guitar. Wow. So you're here as a solo artist right now.
Yeah.
You've worked with bands in the past, though.
Mhm.
How would you say? How does it compare as far as your tastes go? Like, do you like performing as a solo artist, or do you like having the backing of a band?
Oh, having my band with me is it's just so fun. It's just so fun. It's a whole different beast when my band is with me because they take my tiny little songs that I wrote probably in my pajamas at home on my couch and make it this big giant epic thing that I can hear in my head but doesn't exist until they're there,
Mm.
right? But then when I'm playing solo and it's just like a small group of people or, a really intimate show, I get to tell my stories and like where the song came from because a lot of times it's very, very personal. So it hits different when it's a solo and when it's with the band, and it depends on the type of venue as well. Like if it's somewhere like Guilt and Co., people sit and they listen and they take in all the parts from all the band and they're just like enjoying the ride that I've created to
Hmm.
take them on because I've orchestrated everything, or if it's just a bar and everyone's getting drunk, they're just there to have fun,
Yeah.
So there's different kind of enjoyment levels for the audience, but then also for me and the guys.
Hmm.
So
And you mentioned it was your band. So is that the Leah Barley band, or what's
no,
going on with?
I don't like Leah Barley Band. We haven't actually named the band. We've been trying for over a year and we haven't landed on a name yet.
Is there a kind of thing? I know if you have a baby, you're picking baby names maybe online. There's a database. Is there
Yeah.
something like that for picking band names?
Well, not for picking band names, but you can think you're like, oh, you've thought of something really original, and then you Google it, and you're like, there's so
Yeah,
many
somebody
other
has it.
people
Yeah.
that already have it. So that's a little challenging because you don't want to get sued.
Hmm.
So, and then for me, because I'm in kind of like the folk rock genre, there's so many band names that like circle around either drinking or doing drugs of some sort. And I've been sober for quite some time. So I'm like, I'm not here to promote that.
Hmm.
And then also something that's gendered. And I'm trying to stay away from gendering because I have both male and females and non binary people in my band. So I want to make sure I'm respecting them as well. So
So any sort of front runners for band names at this point, or
I,
or what?
I really like Leah Barley and the Midnight Riders, but my drummer doesn't like it. So
Is it something if since you're the voice of the band, do you have 51% of the vote, or?
at the end of the day, it is my call, but
Hmm.
I also like don't want my band members to hate it,
Right.
because it's representing who they are.
Hmm.
So
And I guess that is because you're saying your name and then
yeah,
that's them. So it
yeah,
is kind of more
yeah,
their title than yours.
exactly. They
Hmm.
have to be just as stoked on it as
So
I.
you never know. Maybe you'll be able to convince them one day to come around on that,
We'll see.
or you'll come up with something else that's better.
I
You
know.
never know.
We'll see. We really got to work on it because I'm gonna put out a new album this year, and I really want to like showcase them that when we do go on tour and stuff, that it's encompassing who they are. So it's not just about me. Like they're really working with me on this album. So I want to like give them the credit they deserve.
Right on. All
Mm.
right. Well, you're gonna play 4 songs for us total.
Yes.
You've got one down.
Yes.
Let's get two straight here. I need a cover from you. Something
Okay.
cool. I know you didn't prepare anything
I've got covers.
specifically. I know you could play whatever. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you're going from scratch here, but yeah, let's get a cool cover and then another original, and then we'll reel it back in.
Okay. This is Angel of Montgomery. This is a tune that one of the first songs I learned how to play when I lived in Alberta.
Right on.
I am a woman named after my mother. My old man's just another child has grown old. Of dreams with thunder, lightning was desire. This old house would have burned down a long time ago. Pick me an angel that flies from Montgomery. living is just a hard way to go. Wasn't much to look at, just a free rambling man. But that was a long time. No matter how hard I tried, them years just roll by like a broken down dam. Make me an angel that flies from Montgomery. Make me a poster of an old rodeo. It just give me one thing that I can hold on to. To believe in this living is just a hard way to go. There's flies in the kitchen, I can hear 'em buzzing, and I ain't done nothing since I woke up today. How the hell can a person go to work in the morning, I come home in the evening and have nothing to say? Make me an angel that flies from Montgomery. Make me a poster of an old rodeo. Just give me one thing that I can hold on to. To believe in this living is just a hard way to go. Make me an angel that flies from Montgomery. Make me a poster of an old rodeo. Just give me one thing that I can hold on to. To believe in this living is just a hard way to go.
Very nice, very nice.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
Another original. Hey,
Yeah, I just want to
jump right in.
jump right in. All right, what song is this one that you're going to be playing here?
This song is called Mountains.
Mountains.
Mountains. Yeah, it's I went on tour. This is obviously before COVID times, with John and Ross and this lovely lady named Marina Lagasse. We went to Saskatchewan and back. And in the van, I watched John and Marina fall in love. And they've now been together for like 6.5, 7 years and have given me 2 godchildren.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's kind of cute.
So it's inspired by them or about them?
It's about them.
Okay, cool.
Inspired by them. It's about them. The video on YouTube is actually my grandparents' 1942 honeymoon footage. And it's the first, like, they were some of the first people in Canada to have color 8mm film.
Wow.
So if you go on the YouTube and look up Leah Barley Mountains,
Yeah.
it's my grandparents. And it's the cutest flipping thing in the whole world.
Holy hell.
Yeah,
All right.
and the crazy thing is their honeymoon was Toronto, and they went out to Tofino. So, and then this song is from us going Vancouver to Alberta, Saskatchewan, and so there's a lot of like how I wrote the song and like all about the mountains. It's about the mountains. It actually matches up with my grandparents' footage. So it's just
Crazy.
It's this crazy thing, and it's so beautiful, and it's so full of love, and it's a super cheesy song, and I love it. And my grandparents were a huge part of my life, so it was just really special to do that for them. They've been passed away for 20 years now, but it was just like, it meant a lot.
Yeah.
So that's
Right
what the
on.
song is. Mountains. Unpack your bags, don't need no shoes on your feet. Jump in a van and leave the city. We'll pick up some friends, old and new. Stories to tell, I'm sure we'll make a few. We're gonna drive through the mountains where the snow kisses the tops. We're gonna drive past the water. Can we stop? Come away, my love, and leave your worries behind. Take a deep breath now, the air is fine. We're gonna drive through the mountains and see what's on the other side. We packed some snacks, we got plenty to eat. All the chocolate and cans of beans. When will we stop? And nobody knows. That's how living on the road goes. We're gonna drive through the mountains where the snow kisses the tops. We're gonna drive past the water. Can we stop? Come away, my love, and leave your worries behind. Take a deep breath now, the air is fine. We're gonna drive through the mountains and see what's on the other side. I don't know where it is we're going, and I don't really mind. Everything just seems so perfect with you by my side. Kiss me one more time before the hour slips away. Right into the sunset on this beautiful sunny day. We'll make love under the stars, nothing around, just the sounds of us. In the morning, we'll go for a swim. Skinny dipping's where it all began. We're gonna drive through the mountains where snow kisses the tops. We're gonna drive past the water. Can we stop? Come away, my love, leave your worries behind. And take a deep breath now, the air is fine. We're gonna drive through the mountains and see what's on the other side.
Wow. Beautiful.
Thank you.
That was great. So hey, you mentioned I kind of like the on the other side because of course Saskatchewan does not have mountains
Exactly.
as it's well known.
It's well known being flat and
Well known
boring.
fact.
Yeah.
All right, well, Leah, a few more questions for you here on Live at Evolution. I'm Chris Georges, of course. Asking about inspirations as far as inside the music industry, I should say.
Yeah.
Any bands, artists that has kind of caught your eye or you've modeled your sort of performance after at all?
Modeled my performance, not really. I'm a ham, like I said. Like I'm a turkey on stage, and I love it. But inspiration, music-wise, comes from so many different places. Like, I'm that kid that's, yes, I love folk music, but I'm also listening to like Rage Against the Machine and Kurt Cobain and Hole. Like I was in that whole. I'm a lot older than you are, so like I grew up in
You
like
don't know how old
the
I am, Leah.
grunge era, and where it's like hip hop was so huge in the '90s, but then also the grunge era. It was like massive, and like there wasn't a genre that I couldn't absorb enough of. Like I had all my CDs. I had like box CDs, and I would be listening to classical music in the morning. In the afternoon, I'd be listening to Notorious B.I.G. And But in terms of writing and who inspires me, there's so many incredible Black women growing up. There wasn't a lot of white ladies that were inspiring to me. We had like Shania Twain, and but it's just this incredible, strong Black women who had these huge voices that were really inspiring to me. Aretha Franklin, Lauryn Hill, that just, God, everything comes out of them so beautifully. And that's a big inspiration for me. And now it's like Brandi Carlile is, she's 40 or 41, married, lesbian, with children, and she's just killing the folk scene right now. And like, it's so lovely to see people who are quote unquote adults doing it and doing it tastefully. She wears these like 3-piece suits, and she's not, waving her ass and her tits around. For some people, that's their thing, and I love it. But it just shows that you don't have to do those things to get somewhere. And that's a big inspiration for me, is to still be true to yourself and not like sell out to sex sells, and to just be incredibly talented. So yeah.
One more question for you before we'll get your last song. Any advice you'd kind of give to any up and coming artists or young artists in this city or otherwise that you'd kind of tell them to kind of stay with it or whatever else?
Network. Go out to other people's shows, introduce yourself, stay as sober as possible. Too many people get caught up in the scene of drinking and doing drugs, and that's unfortunately a big part of our culture as musicians, but it's also just a big part of like party culture in general when you go out at night. So just showing up as your best self and supporting each other. You're only going to book shows if people know who you are. Like, no matter how many likes you have on Instagram, if you're not in your community and respecting each other, then you're not going to get anywhere. Like, we have to take care of each other. So, yeah, that's a big thing.
All right, Leah, time for one more song for you.
Okay.
What do you got for us here?
I'm going to play Hush.
Okay, let's hear it.
I get loud in this song. Grab a beer now for your father. He's worked so hard for all the things that you had. Leave him alone now, don't you bother. He don't have time to listen to you, girl. Hush, little baby, don't you cry. Your daddy will love you in time. Hush, little baby, don't you cry. Go spend your time with some other guy. Be a dear now, go find your mother. Haven't seen her in a while. Lying face down in a puddle of her own drool. Took too many of those pills. Hush, little baby, don't you cry. Your mama will wake up in time. Hush, little baby, don't you cry.
You really ended on a bang there, Leah.
I warned you I was loud.
Yeah. I was honestly expecting my eardrums to just kind of pop. Didn't happen. So
Good,
it
I'm
wasn't
glad.
super loud, but it was still loud, and it was great.
I'm a
So
loud lady. Thank you.
well, appreciate you coming in to Live at Evolution here. You're the third of 4 guests, so
It's so cool.
super happy to have you in here.
Thanks for having
Great talking to you. And anything to leave us with?
me. Be kind, drink water, and follow me on Instagram and come out to a show and say hi.
Right on. What's your Instagram?
Leah Barley Music.
Easy enough.
Easy enough.
All right,
Yeah.
perfect. Thanks for coming in, Leah.
Thanks for having me.